Welcome back to the Pod of Greed.
Welcome back indeed. Today we're in a slightly different location temporarily, but it doesn't change the fact that we're here to pod for you.
Because we believe in getting you your pod on time every week as much as humanly possible.
Yeah, which has been a real challenge these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, but we've persevered.
Yeah, I can't talk about it in detail yet, but I have been doing some backflips to get this pod recorded, edited, and uploaded, and out on Thursdays at all.
It's been uploaded in some strange ways and places, but it has happened.
Yes. But anyway, one's in chat if you're watching the YouTube premiere.
Yeah, premiere gang, rise up.
We would love to also have you guys like the premiere. You're just joining us. It helps out, makes YouTube promoted around places. And if you don't want to do that and you're not listening on YouTube, you could also leave a review. Speaking of reviews.
You got one, don't you?
I've got a review for us. This person says, this is Rifter 2001.
Okay,
They gave us 5 stars. They said, more Yu-Gi-Oh! Content, please. Which,
say less.
Say less, but also, it's kind of what we do is Yu-Gi-Oh! Content.
Yeah, every pod, we just start off with all of our Yu-Gi-Oh! News and things we want to talk about, and then we get into the nonsense.
Well, actually, Rifter goes into a little more detail in his review.
Oh, okay.
I've been listening since you started the podcast and love being able to listen while I work. Yeah, always a nice thing. The only thing I would love is more discussion of Yu-Gi-Oh! As a whole, like your APS Plus vids. I guess, maybe discussing more of the nitty-gritty Yu-Gi-Oh!
More of the in-depth. Yeah, we don't really go too far with our Yu-Gi-Oh!
Not sure if you could pull more content than 10 minutes, from your normal topics, but having Alec to bounce those ideas off of that you propose in your videos could lead to even more nuanced discussions of the game as a whole. But maybe it's just me that wants something like that. Anyway, 5 out of 5 stars. Keep it up, and thanks for the content. I get what they're saying.
Yeah, I get it.
Typically, we just go over news, in this podcast, but they maybe want us to, in some cases,
more Yu-Gi-Oh! Topics. Maybe that's content for the Patreon.
That actually sounds like a really good idea. We have been brainstorming this Patreon for the last few weeks because I don't want to launch it and not have
a plan. Yeah.
Not have a plan, and it's just kind of just a floundering thing. So yeah, because more nuanced Yu-Gi-Oh! could be a cool thing. Either way, we appreciate your 5-star review.
Yes.
Remember, guys, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Amazon or wherever, Spotify,
wherever you're listening to podcasts.
Well, speaking of more Yu-Gi-Oh!, there is Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh, is there some Yu-Gi-Oh! this week?
There is some Yu-Gi-Oh!
Even we've been Yu-Gi-Oh! this week.
Yeah, what does that mean?
We played Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, we did play Yu-Gi-Oh!
Publicly for once.
So currently we are in Indiana, and I went to a card shop. It's I believe Castle Cards and Games.
Yeah.
And we played in their
they had a sneak peek for info.
Yeah, their info sneak peek, Infinite Forbidden. A lot of fun. I was able to win a mat in the tournament. I was playing my Vanquish Soul deck. And
I managed to win 1 pack.
Yeah.
I was playing my Chimera deck, with a very scuffed extra deck.
Yeah, I had fun. I hadn't played Vanquish Souls in real life in a while, so I was surprised I was able to do that well. But it was fun. I got a nice mixture of experiences with just the types of people I played. Everybody was friendly. People were cool.
I played against nothing but toxic things.
Yeah. Well, what did you play against?
So, okay, it's not nothing, because I did play against an upgraded Aromage deck, and it was pure Aromage. It wasn't with the plant
Aromage, and then you get some
so
Rika.
That was actually a fun matchup. We had a good time. Mm-hmm. But then I played against what I thought was Ice Barriers, turned out to be Runic.
Runic can really ruin everything.
And then I played against Kashtira.
Oh, fun.
And then I played against, what's it called? I'm forgetting the name of it.
I'm trying to think of just all the decks that I've
seen. Centurion Whitewoods. So I got calamitied. That's what happened.
Jeez, you didn't have maybe the best day. I played against Infernoid Kashtira. I think it was the same guy you played.
No, I didn't play against him.
Oh, I played against an Infernoid Kashtira kind of hybrid deck. That was interesting.
Yeah, mine was pure cash.
I played against a Memento deck. That was a lot of fun. I played against Snake Eye Fiendsmith. Kind of the local self-proclaimed meta sheep. That's not me calling him that.
You know what? I was playing next to you at that point. He did say that. He said meta sheep.
He's a self-proclaimed, he likes that. Which I'm not saying that's anything bad. It's just that's what he said. And I also played against Alex, who was using his GNX deck. which was a pretty cool time as well.
Like, outside of playing against Fiendsmith, I kind of wish I would have played against your opponents than mine.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, it was a nice variety. It was a small, kind of tight-knit locals, and I had a good time. I found that, as we've talked about in this pod before, I typically only really get to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, as for sneak peeks and stuff. Like, I go to kind of special events at the shops, maybe an OTS day or any of those sorts of events. But when I go, I always have a lot of fun. So,
yeah, that was my first Yu-Gi-Oh! Event at that shop. I hadn't been to one yet, and I mean, it was a good time. It was a good community. We had what was it, 12?
It was like a 12
people
person tournament, maybe more, maybe
less.
less.
The shop didn't look like it had that large of an audience before, but 12, that wasn't bad. And that was like a double sneak peek weekend. They were doing 2 sneak peeks.
I think they did one on Saturday, one on Sunday. We went to the one on Sunday, so I imagine the one the day before was probably a
bigger,
little bigger.
yeah.
Usually more people go to the Saturday things. But shout outs to Info.
It is a hype set.
It's a really hype set. No particular like news on it so much as just like it's out now. I mean, I guess like when you're listening to this, it's probably like out at your shop. And
now I think about it, Paul, we played against 2 of the premier strategies coming out of Info. You played against Fiendsmith and I played against Whitewoods.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, were you able to get cards towards any of your decks that you're building?
My pulls were horrible.
Mine were too.
So horrible.
I didn't get great pulls. At least not out of my packs. Out of the winning packs, though, I did get a secret rare Millennium Ankh and a ultra rare, I think the Fusion monster, the Exodio Fusion monster.
See, I didn't even pull Millennium Commons. That's how bad my pulls were.
Oh God, yeah. I gave him all my Millennium stuff because I'm not really
Millennium boys.
building it. The only deck in the set that I was interested in building was Whitewoods, and I just think like it's gonna be, like I said before, it's gonna be one of those decks that I like slowly ease my way into building. I don't think that it'll be like a high priority because I mean it's a popular deck, so you know how that kind of goes.
It is popular, and it's not bad. I remember the Whitewoods deck that I had to deal with ran a Centurion engine so it can get into Calamity, but it also works with the Whitewoods whole like putting things into spell and trap zone. But also toys. The new toy cards were an engine in there.
Yeah, there's so much I feel like I'm just gonna have to kind of catch up on. I didn't read a lot of info.
You didn't read a lot of info.
I didn't read a lot about info leading up to it. So this weekend, I was just like literally seeing cards for the first time. Like I knew about like Fiendsmith in general and like Whitewood or White Forest or whatever in general, but like a lot of the nuanced cards I did not know as much about. So this is literally a sneak peek.
So now that you were however your match with Fiendsmith went, what are your thoughts on the Fiendsmith engine?
Oh, my match was a draw. It could have been a win. I missed a little opportunity to burn with like Heavy Borger. But it's okay. It was a draw. It was a very grindy game. I don't like the Fiendsmith engine very much. But it's not because, I mean, I think it's like, well, actually, no. I think it's just one of those engines, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Gets those every other year or so. Like, there's a new, you know, like, here's the engine that goes and everything. I feel like the last really major one might have been, I guess, considered like Adventure Token 2022, where it's just like, yeah, this engine just is played in like a lot of decks. It generates
bodies and negate.
Bodies and typically like a negation or some sort of removal and like recycling all. And the fact that with the Fiendsmith engine, it's all just like, it's very self-sufficient. Like, I mean, it seems like it can be a little bricky. I know the guy like in our second game that led to a draw, he had to like set that Fabled monster because he bricked with everything else, which is pretty rare in a deck like that. It's Snake Eye Fiendsmith is quite consistent. But like generally speaking, the Fiendsmith engine, it does a lot. It was my first time playing against it in person, so I don't even know like individually what each card. Like I haven't gotten used to facing it.
But you didn't lose.
A lot was going on. Yeah, I kind of just walled up. That was my thing. I walled up. I used some of my Vanquish Soul knowledge that I've got of like how to kind of just keep opponents at bay, remove threats where I need to.
Hey, I mean, as a man who piloted that deck against a YCS champion, that's exactly what I expect from you. No easy losses ever.
No, yeah. I think I take more of my pride in Yu-Gi-Oh! As in being a difficult player to beat. I don't think that I'm like an amazing, you know...
Maybe not the best winner.
But
you're a difficult loser.
I can be a difficult person to defeat. I can wall up, I can like kind of play control, slow opponents down, and sneak some wins when I get the opportunity as well. But, I mean, I guess that's pretty much it for info. I know, like, pre-order prices are still looking high.
Yeah, I saw very high prices on Engraver, which I still think he'll be around $100. Maybe at least until like
Probably
Nats,
the
right?
ban list, or at least, like for Nats, it's going to be high.
Yeah.
Like it's just people have got to get that thing by this weekend and like have their copies, 3 of them. Get the rest of the stuff. There's technically another like secret rare they need or whatever. So it's going to be it's high priced. I feel bad sometimes for people who have to like scramble in this short notice to get these cards. But
I mean, at that shop, we saw that it was a very collaborative effort of no matter who pulled what, they were trying to pool the cards together so that the players who were going to nationals would have fully functioning decks. Because a lot of them, while they wanted the cards, were not going to be playing at Nats, so they were letting people borrow cards. That was kind of nice to see, but it was a huge scramble. They were ripping open like so many cases of product.
yeah, a lot of that stuff. So here's something kind of interesting. Speaking of like nationals and ban lists, this is something that we couldn't talk about in last week's podcast because like we'd recorded on Tuesday, which is also what we're doing this week. But Konami gave a ban list update.
Oh yeah,
you can believe that.
That was so weird out of nowhere.
So for the first time in like many years, Konami has actually made like a statement on when the ban list is going to come out. It's not an exact date, so don't get your hopes up.
Of course not.
But I definitely wanted to talk about this because it does seem like it's a bit of a change in what one might expect from Konami's communication department. The next Forbidden and Limited list update will be coming in late August, so we can see the impact of the Infinite Forbidden on the game before making any changes. We're excited to see everyone's deck building creativity on display once info is released. Now, they made this last week at this time, roughly. So
Yep.
a lot of players had a lot of thoughts on this. Some people are angry because they wanted a new ban list before Nationals.
Which I think many people, I think the most people kind of figured there wouldn't be one.
Yeah, I think like if you're most reasonable people know that I think it'd be more chaotic to release a ban list short notice before Nationals than it would be to just release one after.
Yeah, like it's a 2-factor thing, right? Info drops 2 weeks before Nationals. That's chaotic, but at least we
No, info drops like the weekend of Nationals.
Oh, I was thinking of the sneak peek.
Oh, you're
right.
the sneak peek.
But you're right.
And sneak peek's only 1 week before
Yeah,
Nationals.
that's really, oh God.
Yeah, it is close.
It is. It's razor thin and chaotic, but
Yeah.
at least we are, because it's all coming from Japan, we already knew these cards. People were testing with them in places we will not mention. And that's the type of chaos we can work with. But a ban list, when you don't know what's gonna get in,
It'd be a lot.
that would be too much.
So here they're saying late August, which it's again not an exact date, but it does mean that all these like nationals will have gotten to play out, and so that'll all be done, and even the regional season will have gotten to technically start because the info regional season actually just picks up like the weekend after Nats. Like there's already going to be,
Which is so strange. That's
they
early.
usually wait a little, like about a month. The regionals don't start until like maybe late August, September. But
our product release schedule is a little off too now.
yeah, everything's this year so far has been like pushed up a couple weeks more than it usually is. So maybe this isn't a big surprise. Then conversely, Worlds this year is later than it usually is because it's like the first weekend of September as opposed to like the first weekend of August like it usually is.
Well, the first weekend of September, wouldn't that make it a little awkward for the? I guess for like students and stuff.
I mean, I guess if you're a student and you're going to Worlds, you don't care. You were going either way. So
I'm not passing up my trip to Seattle.
Yeah, I don't know if Seattle, Washington is the most exciting trip, but for some, but a lot of people haven't been there, so it's something. But yeah, so what do you think about like Konami finally saying something? Do you think that this is like a thing we can expect in the future, or do you think this is like a one-time because of the outcry around this specific situation with info and Nats?
Before I answer, I have a question.
Okay.
Like, how was this posted? Was this posted by?
This was like on the official Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG Twitter and Facebook page, and like it just says this. Like it's literally just like the next list will be coming in late August, so we can see the impact of this and the other.
Okay, so I was a little surprised to see an announcement like this on Twitter. Twitter is the best place for it, but
it's also on Facebook,
and on Facebook. But I didn't think Konami really were willing to utilize their social media like this. The way it should be used. But that was a surprise for me.
Yeah.
I think they're testing it out. Mm-hmm. Actually, I guess this wouldn't really be a test. They did.
Well, they're dipping. I get what you mean. Like, I think they're dipping their toe in the waters of like what it would be like because this is. Well, sorry, you finished first.
So it's like a ban list announcement isn't really a test because that's like that's the news people really, really want. So and Konami wouldn't do this without weighing all their pros and cons because they're usually the strong silent type.
Yes.
And which upsets all of us. But they reversed direction. They were transparent. Number one, I like it. I think transparency is always a good thing with the Yu-Gi-Oh card game. Now, whether or not I agree or disagree with whether or not a ban list should come out before or after Nats, all besides the point.
Yeah.
I think we should endeavor to take the news as well as we can because they could have not told us and
that ambiguity really bites when you're like in the Yu-Gi-Oh vortex of like buying cards, building decks, selling cards, selling decks, like just anticipate play testing, all that stuff. I think it is nice to have some clue about when a ban list will be. So my multiple thoughts are, the first, I think this is a one-time thing. I'll believe it when I see it if they actually do this again. I think they're doing this strictly because of this situation. The info officially coming out days before Nationals is somewhat unprecedented. Like, it's technically happened before with like side sets like Battles of Legend. Like I remember in
that happened a couple times, didn't it? With Battles of Legend?
I remember like in 2017, if I'm remembering the year correctly, like Battles of Legend Light's Revenge that had like the Minerva reprint. Was like, I think that released like the weekend of Nats, I want to say.
I remember because I was running all through that auditorium trying to find Battles of Legends cards.
Yeah, and so like that's happened, but this is the first time it's like a new set. And so, or maybe the first time, I don't know. But like, it's the first time in recent memory. And so basically like what that kind of means is you probably should say something. If you're Konami, like players were getting very impatient and very like antsy around the whole thing.
But we're always impatient and antsy. And it feels like Konami has like been able to ignore us up until this point.
And they usually do. I don't know. I mean, I guess like maybe it was just they were seeing a little bit more pushback than they're used to or something like that. I don't know. But I don't think that they'll do it again. I don't. I maybe call me jaded. Maybe I'm just too down on Konami sometimes. I just think that like this is a one-time thing. Don't get used to it. Second thing though is at least there was some explanation with it. Like they didn't just say, okay, the list will be in late August. That is your information. Carry on. It's like, okay, it's going to be late August because we want to see what you guys like build with info before we kind of make our decision. So they're kind of there's like the faintest hint of like a dialogue.
There's a tiny bit of meat on the bone. Like, it's mostly bone still, but there's a little morsel for you. Something to chew on.
You get a morsel off the floor from Konami.
But I do think this is a good thing, and I'm going to choose to be optimistic on this one. I know, rare, but I do think this might be the precedent going forward.
If it is, that's great.
And now I can be disappointed.
See, that's the thing. I think it'll be all right. Now, if they do continue this, I would be happy. Like, I think that even if they're not going to give exact dates, because you see they're careful not to give a date, they still said late August.
I don't think we're getting dates ever again.
I would like to see even just this much going forward would be wonderful. I saw a tweet related to this on Twitter. I don't remember who posted it. I meant to screenshot it, but I didn't. Somebody was saying what appears to be, this is like, speculation as to why they don't do the ban list dates and stuff anymore. Is apparently a bunch of players on Zodiac Duelist, the Facebook group or whatever. It's got a bit of a reputation.
A great one, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's an amazing reputation. Everybody loves Zodiac Duelist. Apparently some people got into their heads that they were going to like go and start spamming the Konami like customer service number or whatever, like the support line, and ask about the ban list or something like that. And they did that in mass, and eventually like it was like right after that Konami stopped giving dates.
But why? What did that have to do with the date?
Well, God, I wish I'd...
Because couldn't we just do that anyway?
Like, people technically could, but I think it's because like they were later than usual on revealing it. Like there'd be a date, and the list would be revealed like 2 weeks before said date. And this time they missed like that 2-week mark or something.
Oh, and people were like, no.
People were like, oh my God, like no, I'm so angry. Wouldn't it be funny if we all like spammed their phone lines? And the thing about spamming the Konami phone lines is this: players seem to have it in their heads that Konami only does Yu-Gi-Oh. And Yu-Gi-Oh is the only thing that exists in that office. When in reality, Konami develops video games and like does other stuff. Like,
and arguably, at least if you look at their corporate information, more important things.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm sure that Konami corporate, like, you know, not the Yu-Gi-Oh department, but just everybody was like, what the hell? Why are these players like spamming these like, we have these phone lines are for real, like,
Real
business inquiries
and
things.
your
like,
little like children's game
it's got like people
you're tying
calling
things
and stuff.
up.
So yeah. No, I don't know if it's true. Again, it's just like speculation. It's kind of a testimony from
noticed-
somebody, but
In the history of Yu-Gi-Oh, we have so many kind of player-based led and believed like rumors and stories.
Like urban legends. No, listen. Okay, that's so funny you mentioned that.
What
So
happened?
listen, I saw a Yu-Gi-Oh Reddit post about what you're saying, where somebody was like, it was like a list of some of the like just Yu-Gi-Oh urban myths, where it's just like these things.
Can I try and guess some?
Yeah, you can. It's just these things that like they get spread around the community, and it's like, yeah, like here's why such another, and this is what happened and made this like this way, and like we never really have like an answer on it.
But like, there's always someone that can throw in like a little.
Yeah.
So my number one is Yu-Gi-Oh can't have cash prizing because Kazuki Takahashi says that like Yu-Gi-Oh should be for fun.
Yeah, that's the number one that was on there, and like that's something that we don't actually have.
There's no record of that.
To my knowledge, there's not like a clear-cut like quote from him saying that. Another one that comes up is actually the one about Magi Magician Girl. Like everybody's like, Kazuki Takahashi refused to have it censored.
Oh yeah.
But again, we don't know. Like
I've heard that story in so many places.
Then there's like the Air Neos controversy where
I've heard multiple
like,
different takes on that.
There's this, and it's because of that, and it's because of the airline, and it's because of like so-and-so lawsuit and Konami, this and that, and it's like, and there's like one other, I forget. But I guess like this kind of gets added in as the ban list. Like here's why the ban list didn't do this, because one day in this group, a thing happened and some player, so.
It's like, come on, like it's never that transparent. We have no legal documents or anything. It kind of reminds me of the whole thing with Kadabra in the Pokemon TCG.
Yeah.
Like it never printed a Kadabra card.
But that at least actually
there
got,
was
like,
a paper trail.
Yeah,
like,
that was like a concrete thing.
Like, and then when Yu-Gi-Oh has controversies, like real ones, there's always a paper trail with the whole upper deck situation. There's legal documents. It all exists. So I think anything else is just a rumor.
It's also because like Yu-Gi-Oh and Konami they're a quiet company. I mean, they really keep their mouths shut. And it's easy to be critical of them for that. But the truth is, I'd probably do the same shit if I was in their situation.
You have to look at Konami, and I might sound like a Konami apologist. You gotta look at Konami is their job is to sell cards. They're selling you cards. That's actually all. That's their goal. That's their job. That's all they want to do. They don't want to hurt you. They don't want to like screw you. It's just.
I think actually that's
just want to sell cards.
Something a lot of people don't know is that's actually Konami's only duty. Like they have a license to like be the distributor of the Yu-Gi-Oh card game.
They don't own it.
They don't own like the Yu-Gi-Oh IP, and so in many cases they don't have the power to change a whole bunch of stuff or really affect much change. And in many cases, when there's like controversy, it's just in their best interest to simply keep their mouths shut and just keep releasing the product.
Keep selling. It's kind of funny. Like Konami's in charge of organized play for Yu-Gi-Oh, but that's only because that's how you market new cards and justify the existence of making more. Like they run our tournaments and organize our competitive scene to sell cards. It's not the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, YCSs are loss leaders. Mm-hmm. Like so that's like a not super commonly known thing. Like I get it's kind of an inside baseball, so some people don't really care about this, but like YCS events like run at a loss, and like the idea is just that because there's got to be some aspirational component of like getting better, being on the stage, winning, or
like case in point, Info.
Yeah,
people are ravenous for this set. We've seen the secondary market's price on engravers; they're high, and that's why Konami has YCSs.
Yeah,
that's why we have nationals and everything.
These events just exist to kind of sell you on. Getting better at Yu-Gi-Oh! And buying more cards and buying more stuff.
And that doesn't make them evil. That just means that they're a business.
Just is what it is, yeah. So that's like kind of the big Yu-Gi-Oh! News, or at least things that we like missed from last week. There are other like just small bits of news. Mm-hmm. So the first one is that I saw something kind of cool. Where is it? Okay. So Konami's going to have a Yu-Gi-Oh booth at San Diego Comic-Con here in a couple weeks. And they actually have these Yu-Gi-Oh skateboards.
Oh, I haven't seen these.
Yeah, so Konami is teaming up with Bear Walker Industries for a set of Yu-Gi-Oh inspired skateboard collection. Oh, that's a typo. Debuting at San Diego Comic-Con 2024 ahead of a worldwide release later this year. Pop Insider has the details. And so, yeah, there's just these like Exodia design skateboard decks. They're called decks, right?
Yeah.
They should have done something with that. The word decks, but also like decks and Yu-Gi-Oh. That could have been like, I don't know, it could have been somewhere in the marketing. And I see like a Millennium items, like different Millennium items.
I see Slifer, I see Ra, and
Obelisk
I think that's
is over
Obelisk.
there,
Okay,
yeah.
that is Obelisk.
So they're doing some more Yu-Gi-Oh
Those
skateboards.
are cool designs. Those are cool.
Kind of brings you back to like 2000 and early 2000s. I don't know, when they had like the Yu-Gi-Oh skateboards for kids.
We had a
back when it
Yu-Gi-Oh
was big.
skateboard.
I still have that Yu-Gi-Oh skateboard.
Nice.
It's like it's stored somewhere, but I do have that
Paul's
skateboard.
scared to skateboard.
I mean, I just can't.
Anyone can.
There is footage on YouTube of Alec riding the skateboard.
That does exist somewhere.
Yeah, we did like some video where you briefly.
Why did we do it?
It was just some video where we were showing some interesting Yu-Gi-Oh stuff that we have.
That might have been the title of the video.
Yeah, it was like 3 interesting Yu-Gi-Oh things I have. Probably got more views than it deserves. Yeah, so I thought that was kind of cool. If you're going to be at San Diego Comic-Con, they have said that there's like, listen, I'm not Konami's messenger boy. It's some booth. You can look up what booth they're going to be at.
Look it up, yeah.
If you're going to be at the event. But they will be there. I'm sure there's going to be like lots of organized play. You can probably do like win a match, duel the master, that sort of thing. Always kind of fun.
Well, I have a Yu-Gi-Oh story.
Do ya?
I do, and boy is it one. Springfield man charged after fight during Yu-Gi-Oh card game tournament in Marshfield.
Man, I did see this. The guy who...
This is in Missouri, looks like.
Okay, let's read it. Let's hear.
So, a Springfield man has been charged after a fight during a card game tournament in Marshfield this week. According to court documents, 26-year-old Haven Burkhart is charged with first-degree burglary, possession of a controlled substance, attempted stealing, and fourth-degree assault. It must have been a crazy tournament. So on July 9th, officers responded to the tournament because a man was threatening other customers inside the store. When officers got there, they separated Burkhart from the fight and arrested him. Witnesses tell KY3, that's a news station, the tournament was a Yu-Gi-Oh card game tournament. A victim told officers he and Burkhart were playing a game, and once the game was over, the victim asked Burkhart to play faster next time. So
that sounds like a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament.
The tournament...
You were slow playing.
The tournament consisted of timed games. After the victim made the suggestion, Burkhart replied with a threat to the victim. They don't have I wish we knew what the threat was.
Oh, don't worry, I'm coming in with that next.
So the victim then called 911, and other people in the tournament attempted to calm Burkhart down, but were unable to. The victim told authorities that Burkhart tried to steal a pack of cards from the counter, like after the fight. According to witnesses, the pack of cards was one of the winning prizes of the tournament. So I guess a tournament pack?
Yeah, all will become clear soon, don't worry.
Authorities say at one point during the altercation, Burkhart assaulted the store owner, and at that time, another witness restrained Burkhart. After officers were escorting Burkhart to a patrol car, taking the jail, so they're taking him to jail, they walked past his car and noticed someone in it. According to authorities, a man was in the passenger seat of Burkhart's car. They identified the man and arrested him for active warrants out of Greene County for failure to appear for tampering with a motor vehicle. So he was just running with criminals?
Yeah.
Officers on the scene also found drug paraphernalia in Burkhart's car. Before officers started driving Burkhart to jail, he told them he was overdosing on heroin.
So bro is just stacking up like crimes here.
He said he'd used it 30 to 45 minutes beforehand. So probably like either between rounds or maybe before the tournament started, he just shot up some heroin and was like, I'm gonna play some Yu-Gi-Oh!
That's insane. I mean...
Oh, and they found 4 grams of cocaine on him.
So yeah, I'm just making a list, checking it twice of how many like just illegal things you can do. And, like,
you know what this was, Paul? I know what this was. This wasn't real. This must all be fake. This is Grand Theft Auto, and someone was like had made a mod of a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament in Grand Theft Auto. Because otherwise, I can't figure out how all of that could happen in one event.
It's like ChatGPT, write me a GTA story involving like a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. So I saw this post on Twitter where somebody posted this on Zodiac Duelist. Zodiac Duelist.
Zodiac.
I was going to Zodiac Duelist. This is apparently from like people who were at the card shop.
Oh, God.
This is their testimony, not mine. So, all right. So here's what happened. It's the last round of the event with like 5 minutes left before the event ends. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament, you have 45 minutes to play a best 2 out of 3 match. In the event time's called, you finish the phase that you're in, like main phase or battle phase. And when you finish the phase, whoever has the most life points wins. So
Makes
in
sense.
theory, you can win the match if you have more life. Jordan and Haven are playing in their last game. The guy is Haven.
Yeah.
That's the guy's name. Jordan plays his turn, passes to Haven. Haven proceeds to go to his turn with like 3 minutes left and is clearly slow playing to win in time. Accusations, not, this is what these people said. Jordan says, hey, could you please play faster since it's almost time in the round? Haven says, nah, you can shut the fuck up though. He said that kind of passive aggressively. It's funny. Jordan responds, well, you are slow playing. And Haven says, well, how about I punch your teeth in instead?
Woo!
At this point, Jordan feels threatened as Haven also starts to stand up and calls 911. Players are calling for the head judge to come over to attempt to defuse the situation. Haven walks over to the register, turns the playmat in that he was borrowing, and says, give me my prize pack now. To which Victoria, who's the lady running the counter, unaware of what has happened, says, well, I'm about to do prizes here in a moment. The store owner, Jason, has now been informed of the situation and has come over to attempt to figure out what's happened and is asking Haven questions. Haven's very aggressive. This person says they didn't hear the full conversation. And Jason says, listen, you are hereby banned from this store, our second store's location, and I never want to see you step foot in here again. Haven demands his pack. Jason tells him he isn't going to get it, to which Haven puts his hand on Jason to push him out of the way and attempts to reach for the prize support pile. Jason, mind you, he's ex-military, as soon as Haven put his hand on him in an aggressive manner, grabs him and says, you need to leave now before this gets worse. They proceed to spin, basically in a circle, where Jason finally says, you done fucked up now, motherfucker, and picks up Haven and slams him into the floor to detain him.
He didn't look like a big guy from the picture I saw.
Haven is all, oh shit, you just assaulted me. And they stand up and Haven starts to raise his fist like he's going to swing. As he does this, 3 cops walk in, see the situation, tackle him to the floor, and take him out in handcuffs.
Oh, the cops got there kind of fast.
So, yeah, that's basically, that's what happened. And I guess obviously whatever else you read in the story, finding
All the other things.
the other things. So, I guess Yu-Gi-Oh's pretty serious business, you might say.
Yeah, okay. So, there's a few, in this series of plays that happen, I want to examine
Plays.
I look at it as like
Like a
a
duel.
series of like football like actions.
Yeah,
So
okay.
at the very beginning of all of this, when he threatened to punch the teeth in of his opponent, I'm surprised they called 911 immediately right there. I mean, I've seen people threaten to hit someone before. Usually you don't have to call 911 right then and there, but maybe this guy has a history.
That's typically kind of where...
Because I did find it surprising that was enough for the 911 call before he'd actually done
So
anything.
what's interesting is that according to this
That's true.
Haven's the one who called 911.
Wait, it was...
So Haven threatened to punch the guy's teeth in. The guy felt threatened. And then Haven starts to stand up and calls 911.
Himself?
Oh, wait, no, okay, I'm reading this wrong. At this point, Jordan felt threatened as Haven also starts to stand up and calls 911. So I'm guessing the opponent still called.
That makes
that would make more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's like, that'd be crazy.
So-
Calls the cops on himself to get arrested.
My understanding is probably just that this guy maybe had like a bit of a reputation where it's like something like this has maybe happened before or,
Because
I
think the moral of the story, guys...
please be chill and relax.
No,
and,
you're
act
missing
right.
the point. You missed the point.
Okay,
I'm sorry,
okay,
Paul.
sorry,
You did
go
miss
ahead.
it. Guys, don't slow play.
That's also okay. Okay.
None of this would have happened if there wasn't slow play. It doesn't matter that he had cocaine. It doesn't matter that he was on heroin. It doesn't matter his buddy was in the car with warrants. If he hadn't slow played, none of this would have happened.
Right. That's the moral of the story. Mm-hmm. I mean, true. I actually have some hot takes about like this. It's not a hot take, really. It's just I hate slow play sucks, and it's we can talk all the time about like what is slow play, what isn't. That's actually the part I hate the most about it, is the ambiguity around slow play. It's
Right.
always been one of the most annoying things for me when it comes to playing in physical tournaments is like proving slow play and like disproving it, and like the tension and anger that comes from that. Because I've like watched people just get into shouting matches. People you would think are like normal, chill, oh, this is such a nice person, but like that slow play comes up and people are ready to fight over like, somebody was slow playing, somebody was doing this. And like it's so evident, just like he said, she said, like the judge kind of has to come later and just take people's word for it. And like, it's really why I prefer Master Duel.
So at this past sneak peek, I played against Runic, right?
Yeah.
I'm down a game.
Yeah.
And the first game took quite a while. In game 2, we hear that like we have 3 minutes left in time. And my Runic opponent, as far as I can tell, starts to just really think about his plays.
Yeah,
And I was like, I'm not gonna like call this as slow playing. I could just be salty because I'm down a game near the end of time. I don't know if he doesn't have a play. I don't know that he's slow playing me, but I couldn't help but notice that his turn took a lot longer at that point.
Yeah. And I hate that it gets into that.
I lost in the draw phase.
Yeah. Don't you love when it gets to that like subjective territory? Mm-hmm. And it's also like, well, you can tell them to speed up, but like in telling them that, you are increasing the temperature of the it will escalate things.
Yeah, there's no way.
And like it's just, I don't like it. And there's not much that can be done for it. Like it's two human beings playing in a rule set. Like people will slow play, and you just kind of have to like be like assertive about it. I mean, I feel like I've gotten pretty good at like being assertive about like, I don't slow play, or I don't think I do. And I always kind of like encourage my opponent to like play at a pace, but I've still run into things. So
I just don't think my opponent wanted to let me, because playing Chimera, and I think he was worried I might find a way to get some damage on him, because he wasn't doing any damage to me.
And the thing is that because he's playing Runic too, they don't even get like a battle phase, so you really got to be like, they can't like finish you off with just a poke attack either. And like these days in modern Yu-Gi-Oh!, if you give decks enough like time and ingenuity, they can find a way to deal some burn damage.
Oh my god, I just realized that play I allowed him to take back would have put damage on him, and then we would have ended in the draw because that game went into time.
See, yeah, it's crazy. So, either way.
I'm not salty though.
Either way, this was a pretty crazy story, and it's also, it's funny because it's just like not great PR for the types of people who maybe you might expect to find at a Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament.
Well, more importantly, you missed it again. It's not about people at Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournaments, Paul. It's slow players. Look what slow players are like. Look how slow players act. They take drugs. They assault people. Yeah. They're really not great people.
He's being sarcastic, guys. No, I have to clarify because I know there are listeners who are like, oh, Alec is like, why are you being so negative with Yu-Gi-Oh! Players on stuff? Like, no, Yu-Gi-Oh! Players on average are fine. And this isn't like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Exclusive thing. I'm sure there have actually been crazier stories from Magic. It's like the bigger game in some cases.
And the Magic community is like, don't you put this on us.
There was that one time when like the people were getting shot at Target stores over Pokemon cards too.
That's true. Pokemon collectors are killers.
Yeah, so shut up. You're gonna get everybody angry at us. So interesting story. I mean, sucks. Really sucks.
I just want to thank the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community. Oftentimes, when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh! stories, we never have anything too fun to say. So shout outs to Burkhart for making making today's pod fun.
Yeah, I mean, it is something. It is. So,
all right.
I have a few more miscellaneous Yu-Gi-Oh! things, just kind of quick.
I got another wild one. Well, it's not nearly as wild.
Is it a Yu-Gi-Oh! thing?
It is Yu-Gi-Oh!
It's a Yu-Gi-Oh! thing.
Yeah, it is Yu-Gi-Oh!
Okay, well, I'll just do this quick chill one.
Okay.
So, according to this site, which is called like I don't know. Someone posted this on Reddit. I just thought it'd be fun to share. Don't know what the source is really. Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel is
spread misinformation, y'all.
Yeah, me when I spread misinformation on the internet. Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel is to be the highest revenue mobile card game worldwide in June 2024. So it's got this picture that I'll have on screen where it's like the top most downloaded apps in June, but then also the
Right.
top grossing apps. And so the list goes Master Duel at number 1, which it raised from the number 2 spot, I guess the previous month, over Marvel Snap, which is now down to number 2. Then number 3 is Magic the Gathering Arena. Number 4 is Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, which was number 3. It went down. Number 5 is WWE Super Card
I've seen it.
Battle cards. Hearthstone at number 6. Tops. Some
Baseball
MLB
cards.
card trader game at number 7. Japanese game I don't know how to pronounce at number 8.
Let me see.
You might actually recognize this.
I couldn't tell you. I think that might be Shadowverse. I can't be sure.
Harry Potter Magic Awakened at number 9.
I don't even know what that is.
And number 10 is another, it's probably a Korean.
Yeah, let me see.
Maybe a Korean card game at number 10?
Tencent, Chinese.
Something from Tencent. Yeah, okay. Well, so, yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, highest grossing mobile card game app in 2024.
I could believe it.
I do too.
Against amongst card games, I think Master Duel still is the most polished. I'm not saying all others are worse. It's just Master Duel's engine and Yu-Gi-Oh! Players are good for getting milked, you know?
It says its revenue, unlike everything else on the list, is over $5 million in June. That's crazy.
That's that mobile game money right there.
It's kind of weird because I've never viewed Master Duel as a particularly... It's not heavy on the wallet. It could be more heavy-handed about kind of demanding your money, but I've always found that if you just kind of play and keep up with it, you never really have to.
As someone who's been chest deep into the gacha gaming scene,
chest deep.
Master Duel is very free to play friendly. I know a lot of people don't feel that way, but if you put in the time to grind for just to knock out your dailies and to do your dual pass, you will spend very, very little money on Master Duel.
Yeah, Master Duel, I don't find it to be a super demanding one.
Also, as long as you don't care about having hyper optimized deck lists the moment a set comes out, which it doesn't even make a whole lot of sense to do that unless you're playing these separate competitive Master Duel events. Because as far as Master Duel proper goes, you have an entire season to get up to whatever rank you want to get to. You don't need to immediately have the very best deck humanly possible.
Right, yeah. So just kind of an interesting tidbit. I don't think that it really is a big surprise. Just if you're curious, Master Duel was number 5 in the downloads for the month. But that kind of makes sense. It's most of the things ahead of it were mini monsters and Plants vs. Zombies and stuff like that. So Pokemon TCG Live was the number 2 most downloaded game. So
good stuff.
Nothing too major there, just thought I'd point it out. What's yours?
So my last Yu-Gi-Oh! Story had drugs.
Oh boy, so what territory do we go to next?
This Yu-Gi-Oh! Story has a gun.
Oh goodness. I hope someone survived.
No one was harmed except for maybe I lost the page. No one was harmed except for a copy of, what was this card? I can't quite see it. Anyway, so this video is titled Proof That Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards Are Enough to Stop a Gun from Firing, like Kaiba did.
Oh, so someone made a video where they're...
It was zero gravity.
Oh, I see.
So
this is interesting. Okay, I'll put it up on screen.
You remember in the anime, Kaiba managed to stop a gun from firing by throwing a copy of Gyotetsu Megumi into the what is that, the firing pin or whatever. It stops the gun from being able to shoot in the anime.
Wow.
And as he details here, the idea is you want to put the card, you place the card so that the gun cannot complete the firing motion.
Yeah.
And he's wondering if it works. Well, he takes a common card. This is not foil, or even if it is foil, it's only at the bottom of the card where there's no real foiling.
Yeah. Huh.
And he will attempt to fire the weapon.
That is very interesting, and it just doesn't...
And while the gun is unloaded, there's one chambered round. He is unable to actually fire the one round with the card in the spot.
Okay, so Yu-Gi-Oh's anime was realistic, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, so Kaiba's never wrong, ever. I just need you guys to know that.
It's kind of interesting. At first I thought it was going to be a card can protect you from a bullet.
Well, in a sense, if you use it in exactly the same way Kaiba did.
Yeah, it might just...
He's gotta
jam their gun before they fire.
You gotta throw it. You gotta make the throw. That's number one thing, guys.
Yeah, Kaiba did...
Oh, You remember those viral videos going on around during like the pandemic of the guy with his self-defense techniques against guns that would clearly get a regular person killed?
Yes, I remember those videos. What the guy's name?
We need to make a video of us, but it's like how to defend yourself with like a Yu-Gi-Oh card. Now you gotta throw the card into the and stop it.
How quickly will we get killed filming that?
Oh, Lord. Just spreading misinformation on the internet.
Basically, spreading misinformation. Oh, okay. So I've got one last Yu-Gi-Oh story that kind of happened last week we did not get to talk about.
What?
Is the announcement of the new Molcharmy card.
Oh, yeah.
So you know, there's like water Molcharmy card that's coming out in info. Well, we also got the announcement of this like purple one.
Yep.
That
was it a wind Molcharmy?
I think so. It's like a wind one. I actually have not looked up the exact.
That was our first indication that the Molcharmy archetype was going to be a multi-attribute archetype around with the idea of being a hand traps that will punish your opponent for making certain types of summons.
Okay, yeah. So the one that we have is Molcharmy Purulia, but like the one that's coming in the next set.
That's in Rage of the Abyss, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to like find its exact name so I don't.
Well, it won't be translated properly.
Say like the wrong thing here. It is Molcharmy Thuaros, which will probably that's definitely gonna get changed. Yeah, it's the wind one. I don't know why I call it purple, but it's kind of the same idea. If you control no cards, you can discard it and apply these effects. Each time your opponent special summons a monster from the deck or extra deck, you immediately draw one card. Then once during the end phase, if the number of cards in your hand is more than the number of cards your opponent controls, plus 6, then you must randomly shuffle cards from your hand into the deck so that your hand equals the number of cards your opponent controls, plus 6. And you can only activate one other Molcharmy monster effect the turn you activate this effect. So that kind of gives us an indication that there will probably be more Molcharmy cards.
Right.
And this particular monster gives you a draw when your opponent summons from deck or extra, whereas the first one we got, Purulia or whatever, is when your opponent summons from hand.
Yes.
Normal or special summons, unlike Max C. So basically, they're kind of like splitting Max C almost into multiple separate cards.
I guess.
And adding a few light restrictions to make it where like you can only really use it going second. Mm-hmm. And there's a limit to the amount of cards you can draw, so you can't just like end up with like 20 cards or whatever.
Because there is a bit of a problem that I always have with the Molcharmy cards. It's that if you're going second, right? Your opponent goes first.
Yeah.
When you had Max C, if you drop Max C
it covers
in that moment, it covers everything, and then your opponent is left in a bind because you will, at the end of your turn, they'll have to discard cards, but they won't have to. Well, you get to keep all those cards until the end of your turn.
Right.
So it's a serious problem to take the Max C challenge going second, but the Molcharmy challenge is a little bit of an easier pill to swallow.
So I've heard two schools of thought around these Molcharmy cards. The first is like, oh my god, what the fuck, you're ruining this game, Konami, what's new, right? Like, people are angry about these Molcharmy cards. They're saying, like, it's this Max C light. It's still going to ruin the game. It's crazy. It's terrible. Make it stop. I'm going to quit. I've literally seen people saying that on Twitter. I'm not exaggerating.
Relax.
People get pretty heated. Well, conversely, I like the design of these cards. I think that Konami is clearly aware that, like, you know, Max C has existed in the OCG, and for some people over there, they really feel like it does a good job of kind of reining in the crazy combo deck problem. Mm-hmm. Mixed opinions, right? I'm sure there are plenty of players over there that don't like Max C. It's obviously a pretty popular opinion around here to like hate Max C, like in Master Duel.
I've heard many calls to unban Max C too.
They're also in the casual spaces. There are people who want Max C unbanned.
Competitive players want it back too. Not just us casuals. I don't know if I can name
them on one hand, but
somebody, they exist.
So I think that making nerfed Max C's is probably just the best thing you can really do. I mean, I think that these are more balanced than they're maybe than people are willing to give them credit for. Like,
you can only go so plus with this card, and in a weird way, early game, it's not that bad.
There's a limit to the amount of advantage you can get. That's like the first big thing. But also, it can't be used when you already have a board. That's a big part of the Max C thing is like, I went first, made a crazy board, and then when you started your turn, I dropped Max C on you, and now I've got my negates and stuff set up. Plus, like, if you do somehow break my board and try to come back, I'll just get a draw for it. Like, it's very obscenely powerful. These don't allow that. And then the third thing that I guess it's like people overlook this part is because they're each kind of limited to a type of summon that gives the draw, you really won't want to like use multiple Molcharmies like in a turn. Like you can do it, you can use up to 2 or whatever, but like if I see somebody drop the one that's like, okay, they draw and I summon from hand, then there are decks that can kind of reroute their combos some. I saw Joshua Schmidt made a video with this new one where it's like, okay, you can make your board as small as possible so your opponent gets the fewest amount of like cards at the end of the turn.
Right.
Like you can kind of compress your board and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, I think that there's more nuance to these cards than
I still think there's a real chance that Molcharmy will be bad.
Yeah, there's a real chance people might actually test this stuff out, and because like Nats is this weekend, and this first Molcharmy card is going to be legal, and like it's a secret rare, and so like the price is really high. But I'm curious to see, is it going to be like a side deck staple, main deck staple? Like how much are people actually going to play this?
And this is the opinion of someone who's competed in the past, who hasn't competed in years. So take it with a grain of salt and don't believe me at all. But I really think Molcharmy will never make the main deck. I don't think that's a main deck card.
It seems risky for sure.
I also haven't won or topped the YCS, so
yeah, I'd love to hear people's opinions on these cards. I mean, I think like I think they're fine. I'm more I guess, or here's a better way to put it. I am more excited to see how they do than I am angry that they exist.
Right.
Because I know for some people, they've already decided like Max C is such an annoying card that anything that even resembles it must be a problem too. And like, I'm not joking. I saw people tweeting like, I am going to quit this game, or I'm like taking a break until they ban these cards or whatever.
Right. Nobody really quits Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, that's true.
You take a break and you play Edison. You take a break, you play Goat. Come on.
So I don't know. I'd rather see what these cards do. Like, is this a good way of like kind of trying to balance the Max C thing? It reminds me actually too of these Dominus cards that have been.
Oh yeah, the two. We have 2 of them now, right?
Because the one in Info is like Dominus Purge, and then we got a new one that's like Dominus something or another. I forget the name of it, but it's another one of these traps that you can activate from your hand.
Literal hand traps.
Like if you have like another trap in your grave, and it like negates something that would summon a card, but after you resolve it, you cannot use certain attributes of monster effects for the rest of the duel. And I think that's a really interesting, like, a very bizarre kind of drawback to add to these cards, but not a bad one.
So I love and hate these cards and my number one thing is this. My favorite deck to play, just like to pick up and play, is Plunder Patrol.
Dominus Impulse, by the way, that's the name
Dominus
of the card.
Impulse, yeah. My favorite deck to play to kind of like is this Plunder Patrol, and my ships are all different attributes. So
yeah, cards like this might be kind of hard
I can never use them. And I don't think that was actually the reason why Konami made and printed those cards. I don't think they made them so that Plunder Patrol wouldn't be able to use them. They made them so certain like pile and combo decks would struggle to use the cards.
Right.
But sadly
there
that
is
means
collateral damage. So with Dominus Purge, that's the one in Info, it's when your opponent uses a card that would add a card from deck to hand, you can negate that effect and destroy that card if you have a trap in your grave. But if you activate this from your hand, then you can't use dark, water, and fire monsters for the rest of the duel. A couple of neat things about it, though, is you can activate it from your hand if your opponent controls a card.
Right.
So you can still like set this, though, and use it like normal. And if you do it in that situation,
you don't get locked.
Yeah, you don't get locked. So there's something there. There's some balance.
Like it's supposed to remind you a lot of Imperm, like where you can use it from your hand, but it's not like as far as traps that you have to set, it's not the worst thing to have to set. A set Imperm is still an interruption. Dominus is much the same.
Yeah, Impulse is if your opponent controls a card, you can activate it from your hand, and that's when they use an effect that would special summon a monster. Negate that effect and destroy the card, and if you use it from your hand, you don't get Light, Earth, or Wind for the rest of the duel.
I just think these are solid cards. It's like to me it's like a Diet Solemn, but way more versatile.
Very much so. I like the design. Like I saw someone had like a conspiracy theory. It might have been like Callie. I think it was half joking on Twitter of like, what if Konami is actually like planning to kind of shift the game or even make a new format? God, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Of like
reach.
Yeah, of mono archetype decks. Because like every other card game, it's like kind of monocolor or dual color games, but like And Yu-Gi-Oh! Attributes have never really affected anything with your deck building.
They don't matter.
They really don't mean much on average. And so the idea of like maybe these cards that kind of lock you out of certain attributes, could there be something there?
That could be an interesting format. I'm against it because I can't
it.
play Plunder Patrol.
Yeah, I mean, fair.
Not a fan. But you know, domain format, a fan-made format, I can.
That is true.
Yeah, guys, check out domain
People
format Yu-Gi-Oh! If
People
you're
just love it when
curious
you
about
mention
that.
domain format. It's like that's what they want. We want to try it one day. We've been in
Yeah, we do want to put it on the channel.
a pickle of recording some things
I
lately.
feel like we said
but-
that in like every pod in the last like.
Yeah, they're probably so pissed with
month.
us. They're like, I'm tired of hearing you say this.
Keep saying it, but you never do it.
the
But we
goddamn
still want to
format.
spread awareness, guys.
If nothing else, we can do that part. Okay, cool. And last super quick, tiny like story that I saw is that there are some cool new Yu-Gi-Oh! Crane game prizes that are available in Japan.
So we're actually familiar with this now because when we were in Tokyo, we actually saw that their crane games do have Yu-Gi-Oh! Prizes. I remember the pot of greed you were trying to win.
Yeah.
That you failed.
I did not. Shut up. I didn't win it. They're doing all of the rescue animals. They've got a rescue cat, a hamster, the ferret, and the rabbit. And so they're like these
Why did
cute
you
little-
insist on saying them out of order?
I thought that was a hamster, but I thought that was the hamster. And that,
Oh, I see.
point is,
I know. I
yeah,
see how that happened.
there's
Okay.
4 of them. That's also how they're doing those like Yu-Gi-Oh! Pack pillows, like the pillows that are like designed after.
So
Yu-Gi-Oh!
those
Pack.
must not be like full body pillows if they can fit them into cranes, then, right?
Yeah, in addition, the big pack cushions are also available from the Konakura Konami Online Crane Games. Online Crane Games. That includes the exclusive Lost Millennium cushion that was available until the 30th of June. So this was like an exclusive thing at some pop-up shop, I believe, before, but now it's like in an online crane game.
I need it. Guys, I need it.
And then also to celebrate the release of new Yu-Gi-Oh! Figures in the online crane games, the playing prices for past prizes are also 50% off. There was like a Magic Karibo, a
What is that?
Blue Eyes White Dragon. Looks like it's like
Oh, it
holding
is a
something.
Blue Eyes. Okay.
And
I
then like a
couldn't tell.
Millennium Puzzle. So there's some cool new little plushes and figures that the OCG gets that we won't get.
Unless we order them online or you travel to Tokyo to get your own.
Correct. Yeah, you gotta really fight to get your own
It'll be
stuff.
expensive, guys. I'm just saying. It's expensive.
I believe that is all the Yu-Gi-Oh!
But not all of our card game stores.
Not all of them. Okay.
Just because I want to talk about Magic the Gathering's upcoming set, Bloomburrow.
Okay.
Let's see.
I've not heard about Bloomburrow. I don't
So,
hear much about Magic sets.
do you remember that old like book series where it was about these like forest creatures who like fight wars and act like people, but they're still very much like woodland creatures?
Redwall.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think
so
of Redwall.
Bloomburrow is essentially Redwall the set.
Okay.
There are no humans in this set. At least I haven't seen any.
So
it's
it's
just
fighting
critters.
critters?
Yes.
That's cute. Let me see.
So it says, MTG art director was careful not to make Bloomburrow too cute. So this is a story about the art of this set with all of its cute woodland creatures.
Okay. So what's he saying?
So while the upcoming set Bloomburrow is full of adorable woodland critters, it's also a world that feels just as full of adventure and peril as any Magic the Gathering plane. A talking animals setting could have been all kittens and puppies, rainbows and unicorns. But the set's art director, Zach Stella, isn't it cool that artists get acknowledged in that card game?
Yeah, it must be nice.
Zach Stella was careful to prevent a cuteness overload by getting in the way of a classic fantasy tone.
Yeah. So basically, interject and say, I guess it sounds like he was kind of trying to find a balance between cute, like, furry woodland creatures that are like fighting and stuff, but also like it still needs to fit within the larger
That magic
magic
tone.
look and kind of weight and feel. Okay.
So Bloomburrow art director Zach Stella tells Wargamer, it was very important that it still felt like an MTG set. So even though the goal was to have one of the most pastoral settings we've ever made, we wanted to retain the magic feeling. The animals are cute enough on their own, so we wanted to see them doing combat things over seeing them napping or being intentionally cute on top of that.
Right.
This would be a very different set, because I
so
think
they're not Melfi from Yu-Gi-Oh!
Right.
Where they're like
you see there's this picture here of the rabbit with like pointing its weird vegetable sword.
Yeah, it's like a
It's like a radish.
onion or radish.
It's like,
thing.
but it's clearly like leading its like little buddies to battle. But like, what if they were all like cuddled up around a tree taking a nap?
Yeah, it might just be a little bit too much. It's funny because like we sometimes talk about sets not feeling like they match the magic tone, like with the Universes Beyond collabs.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like, oh, does like Assassin's Creed really fit, or does like My Little Pony really fit? But this is kind of different.
Fortnite.
Yeah, does this really fit with Magic? And I think they struck a good medium with the visuals I'm seeing.
Yeah, I mean, like there's plenty of cute in this set. There's a picture of a possum right here. I mean, like they're cute, but the cards in this set are also terrifying. I don't have the picture of this right now. I'll pull it up for Paul later. But there's also like this very ferocious looking bear thing that gives me flashbacks to the hit movie The Revenant, which put a fear of bears in me like you wouldn't believe. And that's in this set. So
when does the set come out?
This set comes out on August. These articles never say it themselves, but I believe it's August 2nd, or either that or the second week of August. I don't remember what exactly I read.
Well, early August, we'll say.
Early August. First quarter of August. Oh, wait.
Q1 August.
Wait, how would Konami word this if this were a ban list? Do not expect
no sooner than
Bloomburrow to release no sooner than,
or maybe even just these days, in a few weeks.
In a few weeks.
That is, the set's releasing in a few weeks. That's what you get.
But yeah, check out Bloomburrow, guys. It's fantasy critters. They're cute, but they're deadly.
All right, well, I've got another TCG story, actually. This is about Pokemon.
Okay.
You might have seen this. This is former Pokemon lawyer explains how he tracked down a young leaker by calling his mom. What? Yeah, this is kind of a surprise. So, an ex-Pokemon lawyer, so I guess he was a lawyer at the Pokemon Company International maybe, has shared a triumphant story in which he tracked down and course-corrected a young leaker by calling his mom and telling her what he was up to.
Snitch.
Don McGowan used to be the general counsel at Disney Studio and Sony subsidiary Bungie, but before that, he was the Pokemon Company's chief legal officer for more than 10 years. He gave an insightful interview to Bloomberg in which he shared some of his experiences chasing down leakers for major video game companies. Obviously, pretty much.
A full-on narc.
Yeah, I guess you could call him that. My favorite story he shared was about a child leaker named Andrew, who seemingly innocently strayed from the light under the internet's shadow before a... Jesus Christ, love the colorful language
Creative
here.
writing here is wonderful.
Before a conversation between McGowan and his mom struck the fear of Nintendo's legal team into his heart. So, back when I was at Pokemon, some kid figured out how to extract the images from the card game, he recalled. He found an icon from the developer and said, "Holy shit, I found a new Pokemon." This kid included his email, and because of the way Pokemon did account creation, when we got the child's account, we got the parent information, which included a phone number. So I called his mom and said, "Listen, I wanted to tell you some things about what Andrew is doing on the computer." She says, "So you're saying he hacked your game?" And I hear in the background, "I didn't hack anything." It's like that's what he was saying when, the phone call. I start describing it more technically. She says, "Is this a problem?" I say, "Hacking software, that's a federal crime, but I don't want that to be the conversation. Why don't we make it a conversation about the good and bad things you can do with a computer?" Meanwhile, Andrew was live tweeting about the situation and said, in this order, Andrew being the kid,
Yeah.
"Pokemon just called my house. What the hell is a general counsel? And then, I now know what I did was wrong and I'll never do it again."
Wow.
Which was fantastic. Absolutely baked my legend in at Pokemon for 5 years. So,
So his legend is that he threatened a child.
An older and wiser Andrew might have known how fiercely protective the Pokemon Company is over its IP. But in hindsight, I hope he sees this as the blessing that it really was. After all, if he were only a few years older and dealing with a less forgiving lawyer, he could have landed himself in some very serious trouble. Instead, he got a valuable lesson, and we got this hilarious story at his expense. So, yeah, kid, I guess, found a way to rip images off, the Pokemon card site or something, and maybe find out a little bit he wasn't supposed to. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I think he did get off easy and should be thankful, because, how, Pokemon Company lawyers, Nintendo lawyers, Disney lawyers, all that stuff.
But I don't know when this happened, but given the way that Pokemon are still aggressively leaked every time a new generation rolls around,
this is separate from, the games, though, Or like the video games.
Oh,
like the
is it?
card. Yeah, this is the card game.
Oh,
thing, yeah.
oh, he did say the card game.
So I mean, like,
So maybe it's different. Maybe it's not. Wouldn't it be funny if he's back to leaking?
I mean, for all I know, he probably
He just
is.
learned not to have his email.
He's just older now.
Like, he
Uses
just knows
VPNs
better.
in the dark web or
That
something.
he's more dangerous than ever.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I thought it was a kind of a fun little story about.
He leads a hacker group called Team Rocket.
That'd be pretty funny, actually. That would be pretty funny. Good for him. I mean, like, it sounds like this lawyers are kind of proud of how he handled the situation. And I will give this lawyer this. I'm glad that, like, he just let it be a learning experience. Because it really could be, like, much worse. And,
Ma'am, we are taking your small child to jail.
well, you remember the Magic Pinkerton situation?
That's true.
Like, they come knocking at your door, guns aimed at your face, and your wife is screaming, and everything's just...
Do you think they would have mobilized the Pinkertons had this been like a child Magic YouTuber? No, right?
I mean, I don't know. Like, Hasbro, they're crazy. Who knows? Like, I mean, I don't know what might happen. I mean, sorry, I love you, Hasbro. You're the best company ever.
No, we've never worked with Hasbro.
We
worked with Spin Master. We don't know
I'm just
Hasbro.
sucking up so that...
Wait, are they a
don't send
subsidiary of
Pinkertons.
Hasbro?
Maybe.
They might be. We might need to suck up just in case.
Yeah, that
hey,
one might be
Hasbro,
good.
shout outs to you guys.
The point is that this is I think a happy ending for this kid, Andrew.
That's right. Andrew's on the right path now. We're not sure about that, but we're pretty sure.
Yeah.
It's all because of the work that your lawyer, the work of your lawyer.
Yeah, but in all honesty, no, I think that was a good ending, a better ending than it could have been.
Facts.
So, you know.
So,
Okay, cool.
any more card game stories?
No more card games.
Because I'm out of card game stories too.
I'm also out of card game stories.
I do have a random story about influencers.
Oh, let's hear it.
So, how much would you be willing to play or pay to play video games with your favorite creator?
Nothing.
Nothing? You don't think they're worth anything at all?
I just don't want to play with them.
Wow.
But I think I do know the story that you're talking about.
Well, a lot of people disagree with you.
Okay.
Because right now, CDawg VA, popular YouTuber, voice actor, streamer, is doing his charity for the, I think the Immune Deficiency Fund. I don't know my acronyms that well. It was like IDF. Anyway, he's got a live stream going right, or a live auction going right now, where you can win a like play date with your favorite creators, or even get some of their personal effects.
Yeah, my understanding is that different creators are auctioning off different just things. Iconography from their kind of channels, lore. And
Very
things like
large influencers like Ludwig, Pokimane, Germa, and Point Crow are all a part of this event. I don't know who most of those people are, but I'm sure some of you guys do. So you might be wondering, so what's at stake here, right? Well, what caught my attention was this streamer Pokimane.
Yeah, we all know Pokemon to some degree. She's been in many stories.
So, all right.
Okay.
Pokimane is offering a gaming session with herself. I don't know if there's anything else on top of this. I don't know if you get to like hang out. I don't know
So
if
basically
this
you're
is...
auctioning or a chance to play some video games with Pokemon.
Yes.
I wonder if it's in person or not.
That's what I like to know. And I'm pretty sure looks like Harry Vibes on X and Bitcoin Brandon don't care, because take a wild guess what the current top bid for that play date with Pokimane is.
So I saw this story like a day or two ago. It was like at 25,000. I'm gonna say 50,000.
So when I looked at this, I saw this website before we potted.
Yeah.
You were close.
Okay. So what's it going for?
500,000.
$500,000 for, I guess, a play date with Pokemon.
500,000. That's $500,000 for you guys who don't do math.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, so I don't think I could ever bring myself. I have some thoughts on this. I don't know the full scope of like what this auction site is.
I think it's called Tiltify or Tilty. Yeah, Tiltify.
Yeah.
There's a chance that some of these bids are scams, because $500,000.
Something like fake. Or
No
whatever,
matter, I honestly feel no matter how much you love your favorite creator, $500,000 to do anything with them is too much.
I mean, I worry about the parasocialness of like something like this. Like it reminds me how many like kind of No, I'm not saying there's anything bad about like being a Pokemon fan or a fan of any of these people, but just more so the idea that like someone would pay so much money for like kind of just the chance to play with you like for some hours. Like
you're kind of worried about the parasocial relationship that has already been formed.
Yeah.
Well, what about a parasocial relationship? Okay. Because also you can have a hangout session with Connor VA himself and Iron Mouse, the popular VTuber. That's a pair of socials.
Yeah.
So you can play games with them, and the top bid is way more. It's a much easier pill to swallow.
What's the top bid?
It only costs you a car, $20,000.
$20,000. Also, by the way, we're recording this on like the Tuesday before you guys see this.
Oh, that's a good point.
Like July 16th. So like
these will
probably be much
over
higher.
by then. I'm trying to see where the timer is on the event. Some of these might close by then.
Well, it'll certainly be higher by the time that you actually hear about, like, you know, when you're watching or listening to this.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, how do you like have a hangout session with a VTuber?
That's a wonderful question because they use green screens and stuff at their.
Like, is there a little like wheeling like is it gonna like wheel around like a tablet that just like has their avatar? Because I saw that one.
Iron Mouse attended a convention we were at in literally the way you described.
Yeah, I remember.
There was like a little tablet that she was on.
Yeah,
kind of brought her around, and a giant crowd followed her.
You know, somebody had this little tablet on like this robot platform thing. It was like just getting wheeled around the convention, and she would be on it and talking and like saying hi to people. So, all right, well, Alec, would you pay to have a gaming session or a hangout with some of these people?
Okay.
Like
the number one thing is
okay.
I need to have $20,000.
Okay,
like just as a base level.
Okay, you have the money and all that stuff. Like,
right.
Are you paying?
Do I have more than $20,000?
Just answer the question.
Well, I gotta know what my budget is here.
I don't know. Your budget's $1 million.
Oh, okay. If I have $1 million, I'm not spending it on some influencer date.
Okay, yeah, I don't. That's all I needed to hear. I don't. So for me, with stuff like this, I mean, like I can speak from some experience. There are a lot of people who want to duel us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I get a lot of messages and comments to this day of people who really want to they want to meet me at an event and duel me, or they want to play me in Master Duel, and they want me to rate my deck or like talk to me and this and that. And you know, I've always had a bit of a mixed relationship really with like the parasocial. I don't consider my like Yu-Gi-Oh opinions or my Yu-Gi-Oh persona to be so important that I think it's like worth anyone's money or any like or like being like I'm not like anyone special to meet and duel with, right? Now I'm not saying like I guess that's kind of like almost that might be a bit much of me to say, like, okay, if you have a lot of subscribers in the Yu-Gi-Oh space at least, then your opinion does matter whether you want it to or not. Like people do care.
You shouldn't cheapen the value. I mean,
but I would not pay money to duel against any particular Yu-Gi-Tuber or hang out with any certain Yu-Gi-Tuber. But what I'm saying is, it wouldn't even be me. Like if I was like a regular viewer and I watched Paul, Team APS, whatever, I don't know. I don't see like.
I'm starting to think that maybe our opinion is not a good one here.
I don't think it is.
Because we're kind of like from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
We can never be.
I can't be like as much of a fanboy, I suppose.
Yeah, it's because people have been fans. So guys, I want you to tell us, and you don't have to like try and make it seem like, oh, these great people. You can be honest. How much are you willing to pay to duel one of us? Yeah. If it's nothing, that's cool. We don't expect anything.
I'm not asking this as like market research.
Yeah, we're not
charge on our.
That's not coming up anytime soon.
Yeah, what I mean more so is just like, and it doesn't even have to be like me. Like if your favorite YouTuber is like Simo or MBT or Sam or whoever,
could be anybody.
Like, would you pay to duel them? I know that some people would because like there was that like Duel Academy thing that people have where they would get like coaching from top players. And I remember like I saw like a Patreon, I think, for maybe Progression Series or something where like you'd get to duel in Progression Series against like Simo or Nim or whatever, and like there was a cost associated with it.
I do think there's value to being able to play a game with your someone that you're invested in, but I don't think it's a $20,000 price tag.
Now, obviously, I guess it's different for these people because these are like kind of mainstream creators that are really, really large. So,
Like-
they have millions of fans. And at some point, I guess it's almost like, it's not just what it's worth to you. It's also the fact that you have to beat out the other fans who just, it's worth something
that's
to
true.
them. And
That is true. But like to me, like let's say that LeBron James is offering the ability to play a game of basketball with him.
Yeah.
You know how much I'm willing to pay for that game? I think I have a 5 in my wallet.
Yeah. I mean, I'm also, and this might just be more of like my own personality around this stuff, is like, I love a lot of content creators and I watch them and stuff. I think it'd be really awesome to meet them, but it's not like so high on my priority list. Like if I meet any content creators that I like or celebrities, I would want it to almost be like a mistake or an accident. Like I just see them.
So it's not a transactional thing.
Yeah, like if I ran into, like I'm an MKBHD fan. If I ran into him at like, the airport and got like a signature or a selfie or whatever, that'd be cool. And like, that's enough for me, but I don't really want to pay to do it. It's weird because I'm willing to like pay to buy merch from some of my favorite YouTubers. And
right.
In some select cases, I don't buy a lot of YouTube merch, but like I have bought like an MKBHD shirt. And for me, really just doing that I'd be more likely to buy a $20 or $30 shirt from him than bid my $30 for a chance to meet him, if that makes sense.
What about $30 you get to play a game of Yu-Gi-Oh with him?
Can I make content out of it? You get a lot of views.
Like,
but no,
the YouTuber brain turned on immediately.
I don't know. But yeah, I don't think that I would want to play a game of anything with anyone for an amount of money.
But if you're watching MK,
I mean, hit me up if you want to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Of all things. Yeah, so...
when he's watching our podcast.
Yeah, okay. Interesting story, though. I'm interested in seeing like what those auctions what the prices end on.
I think the most important thing to note, guys, is for an important cause. This is the Immune Deficiency Foundation. So this is helping a lot of people. So you're not just giving to get a piece of parasocial like history. You are giving for a cause. So
well, speaking of parasocial, we have an AI story that we always got to have.
Can you have a parasocial relationship with an AI? Because it's not real.
I mean, like maybe, I don't know.
I gotta look up the definition of parasocial again to be sure.
So here is the story. Basically, Apple AI is using, Apple AI trained AI models on YouTube content without consent.
Oh.
Yeah, so a number of tech giants, including Apple, trained AI models on YouTube videos without the consent of the creators, according to a new report today. They did this by using subtitle files downloaded by a third party from more than 170,000 videos. Creators affected included tech reviewer Marques Brownlee, speaking of MKBHD, but also Mr. Beast, PewDiePie, Stephen Colbert, John Oliver, and Jimmy Kimmel.
So it's a lot of the biggest names on the platform.
Big YouTube videos. They went, ripped subtitles from these videos, and then used them to train AI. So, an investigation by Proof News found some of the wealthiest AI companies in the world have used material from thousands of YouTube videos to train AI. They did so despite YouTube's rules against harvesting materials from the platform without permission. So they found subtitles from 173,536 YouTube videos.
Are we in that?
Siphoned from more than 48,000 channels.
And 48,000, we could be in that.
We could be. You can take my podcast and
can we get a little cha-ching?
Oh, they're not paying. I mean, this got found out. Remember, they weren't going to say anything about it.
Well, I mean, I figure there's a lawsuit coming after this, right?
Could be. The downloads are reportedly formed by a nonprofit called Yeluther AI, which says that it helps developers train AI models.
Okay.
So,
Yeluther.
Wired says Apple has not responded to a request for comment at the time of writing. So
their lawyers are getting on it.
Yeah. What do we think?
So this makes perfect sense. These large language models need a lot of data to be fed. And you'd actually have to be a little like delusional to think they weren't training those AIs off of YouTube videos and YouTube content. I didn't know anybody could prove it and like be able to draw an exact line to like what creators are being used.
Yeah.
But because that's the case, I think Apple owes somebody something.
Yeah, I think
some amount of money, something.
There's going to be a lawsuit. I mean, it probably won't be Apple that pays it. It'll probably be the company that did the research. That's the way that Apple tends to do
that'll
these
crush them more than likely.
Yeah.
I don't think they can afford whatever YouTube will demand.
Something kind of interesting that MKB had pointed out on Twitter, I think I saw, he was like, in a way, this is sort of double dipping because in addition to like learning off the video that like he made, it's like, also he and many big YouTubers do this, pay like a separate company to do high quality like captions and subtitles for their videos, translating them to other languages and like things like that. And so, I've even done that before too. I've used like a captioning service for a lot of our like skits and things like that. And so like in taking the subtitles from these videos to train AI models, they're not just taking the creative like things spoken in the video, but also like that was like something that was paid for before already. Like it's very, you can view it as a sense of double dipping.
Right.
So, yeah.
I do think there's probably some financial damages in there. I'm not a lawyer. I can't be sure.
Really no telling.
But it just sounds like.
I kind of hope there is.
Yeah.
Like just to send a message.
Toss that Team APS name in there. Give us a little bit of a cut. It's gonna be like a class action. You get $5.
I'll be lucky.
$5 and a pat on the shoulder.
I get like 30 cents and
Woo!
stick of gum. It's chewed up already. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. It's the one type of like thing where I think it's not as sexy a headline as like stealing art or like,
because essentially
weird, like, deep fake video.
Stealing from the already wealthy.
Yeah, well, it's stealing text. No one has that much of an issue with like text being stolen, or at least it's not going to make
unless
like
it's plagiarism.
Yes, but like people don't get up in arms over that.
No,
I'm not saying they should.
Not lately.
I'm not saying they shouldn't be up in arms over, research papers and news articles and things like that being stolen. It's just that like you'll hear more uproar over like an artist having their art stolen.
Right.
Or, something like that, like music or something, or a movie, as opposed to just subtitles on a YouTube video. But it does break YouTube's terms of service, so maybe YouTube themselves need to be the ones going after these people in court. I don't know.
I mean, if they could find a way to tie it to Apple themselves, a giant, it's worth it then. They got money.
Yeah, so just thought that was kind of you got to fit a little AI into the
Another example of why I hate the stuff.
Every week. Some AI is always fun, eh? Cool, you got another story?
I wish I did.
Oh, okay. Well, I do have a couple of weird stories.
What you got for us?
These are fun. So, BeyBlade creators low-key want it to be an Olympic sport.
All right, Paul, I need you to bear with me because you said that, and I have a secret I've been keeping.
You have a BeyBlade?
I have a secret I've been keeping.
Do you have one on hand?
Give me 1 second.
Right now? Alec might actually have a BeyBlade. For those listening, he has stepped off camera briefly for just a moment. He's pulling out a box from underneath a couch.
So I don't have a BeyBlade.
He's got some wires or something that he's grabbing in his hand.
BeyBlades.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Alec has BeyBlades. Here, show him the camera.
I actually have multiple and many.
Yeah, so you were a BeyBlade kid.
I was a BeyBlade kid, and whenever I get a chance to get BeyBlades as an adult, I do it again.
Cool, yeah, no, so here's what the story says. It seems the creators of spinning top battle game BeyBlade low-key wanted to become an Olympic sport. Speaking to Metro, designer Kenji Horikoshi spoke about the continued popularity of BeyBlade and how its creators at Takara Tomy genuinely see it as a, quote, gear-assisted sport akin to golf or skateboarding. The article comments that on several occasions, the employees of Takara Tomy joked about BeyBlade even becoming an Olympic sport, enough to suggest that they genuinely hope that this will be the case one day. A quote, "Our mission here is to make sure we continue innovating, and as the years progress, even without it being an Olympic sport, we just want to make sure people globally can have a chance to really appreciate and play with each other and have that competitive feel." So, yeah, BeyBlade began in 1999, involves two players firing and spinning.
I was right there.
It does have a competitive scene.
It does.
With national tournaments already and even an international event coming later in 2024. But competitors letting it rip at the Olympics would obviously take things to a whole new level. What do we think about this?
So, I mean, we all know BeyBlade is not becoming an Olympic sport.
Anytime soon.
I'll say this.
Anytime soon.
Because they're adding an esports for the next Olympic Games, not the current one, but the next one after.
Like 2028?
And and people want pickleball to be put into the Olympics.
Man.
And so
Pickleball? Okay.
and like I will never I'll never talk down on esports. It's a struggling industry, and I do think a lot of esports players and competitors, they are athletes just with their like kind of fingers.
Yeah.
But pickleball's a joke. Beyblade should definitely be in the Olympics before pickleball ever makes it. I don't care.
Is
what anyone
Beyblade a
says.
sport or an e-sport? I feel like it's a sport.
It is a sport.
It's
a sport.
We're
I mean,
talking an e-sport.
there's spinning tops, and you might think, well, that's just too silly. But there's a lot of like kind of silly like games and sports out there.
Yeah.
Like the most silly being pickleball, because we already have tennis and we have like table tennis, and I just don't see why pickleball needs to have any more like.
Yeah.
Whatever. If you're a pickleball player in the comments, let me know if you think it should be an Olympic sport, and why not just play tennis? Let me know.
Well, I know like Beyblade's kind of an interesting one because like it has withstood the test of time
It's been around.
in a way, and like it's kind of fills a similar-ish niche to Yu-Gi-Oh, where the vast majority of people watched it as a kid and maybe collected it and had it, and are sometimes surprised to hear that it still exists today. That's still similar to Yu-Gi-Oh. And also, like, when you bring it up, there is a certain visceral excitement that tends to come.
Everybody has a Beyblade memory.
Everyone has, like, a memory, like, I had Beyblades, I did this thing. Like,
one time, it, like, popped out the stadium and it cut me, or, you know.
Or that.
Everyone's got a Beyblade story.
Yeah, so when I think about it, like, it kind of has that weird cult classic appeal. I remember when we were at DreamCon one year, there was just like a huge crowd of people, and people were like, Beyblade.
There was a Beyblade event at DreamCon.
Yeah, that was so. I mean, like people, they do their Beyblades.
Like and even today, because as you see, I have modern Beyblades on me. You know, letting it rip, even in 2024, there's this weird
satisfaction.
Satisfaction seeing those things go crazy.
Long since I tried to actually launch a Beyblade.
Like,
you know what it reminds me a little of is like Bakugan. Like to an extent.
I mean, they're both like these toy-based properties.
Yeah, kind of card game-esque thing, and you like throw the Bakugan and it
Poor
pops
Bakugan.
open. I think Beyblade's got it's got the edge in being like more dynamic.
Yeah, I mean,
watching them
those
like
things just fly around, and you know, before you know it, you're just the old school Beyblade music is playing in your head, and it takes you right back.
Yeah, so I don't know. I thought that was kind of a neat little a neat story, and one that. Will it actually happen? I mean, let's face it, probably not.
Let us know if you need to see Paul Beyblade on the pod.
On the pod? Like, how can I do it on the pod?
I have no idea. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, okay. And final weird story of the day. This comes to us from Delish.
Delish?
I don't know, it's just some site. I guess they make like, food-based articles.
Okay.
The viral Costco Apocalypse dinner kit stays good for 25 years.
Ugh.
So yeah, Costco made an Apocalypse dinner kit.
25 years.
Yeah, you can. I mean, for the apocalypse, like if the world ends, you can have these like in
what
storage.
tastes good that you can have for 25 years?
Well, you can truly buy everything at Costco, including all you need to survive a zombie apocalypse. In case you're preparing for the end of the world, be sure to stop by Costco. It'd be so easy, wouldn't it? Because the warehouse is selling an apocalypse-ready dinner kit that's packed with 132 servings of food and drink.
132.
In addition to an ample amount of grub, the kit has a shelf life of up to 25 years. So basically, I guess you buy these and then you just kind of store them away.
Now, it said up to 25 years. So on the 24th year, is the food just kind of like
It's probably
iffy?
not amazing, but... So cookbook author Jeffrey Eisner spotted the unique bucket, which can be purchased for just $62.99 while visiting the warehouse and spilled all...
Bucket?
Yeah, it's made in a... Because it's supposed to be like a... Like, it's like a bucket, see?
Oh, it's literally in a bucket.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you would like store it in your basement or something, or like your cellar, like or in a bunker, I guess. And so, it's called the ReadyWise Emergency Food Supply. In his viral video, he revealed that the ReadyWise Emergency Food Supply includes multiple servings of teriyaki rice, pasta Alfredo, cheesy macaroni, apple cinnamon cereal, and several other dishes.
Wait. If this
Sounds kind of good, huh?
I could eat that now. Wait, what you mean?
Yeah, the site serves two other emergency food supply options: a 150 serving food bucket for $99.99 and a 110 serving protein bucket for $179.99. So that's if you want a little bit of actual like meat.
That's just good.
So the 150 serving bucket is the one most similar to the kit that went viral. It includes 12 servings of pasta Alfredo, 12 servings of cheesy macaroni, 6 servings of teriyaki rice.
Bro, do we have a Costco around here?
Yeah, 6 servings of creamy pasta and vegetables, 6 servings of potato pot pie, 6 servings of tomato basil soup with pasta, 6 servings of chicken noodle soup, 12 servings of brown sugar and maple multigrain, 12 servings of apple cinnamon cereal, 6 servings of crunchy granola, 10 servings of white rice, 16 servings of vanilla pudding, 24 servings of whey milk alternative, and 16 servings of orange drink.
So, but like, how does this work exactly? Because, like, I imagine, the food's supposed to be warmed up, and
it's all gonna be
can
just
you start
like,
with a campfire?
Probably so. It's all like probably packaged in, because from this picture at least, it looks like it's in these little like sacks, right? Like there's like a bucket.
Right.
And then like there's these sort of like sacks.
Oh, okay.
And like I guess, yeah, so it's kind of like military food if you ever have like seen like those like I had to have those in Boy Scouts once. Like the little army food
Oh,
packets.
do you not
things.
know my background?
Oh, no, I'm just saying like I don't know. Have you
Guys, if you don't know, I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, where we're very much used to hurricanes. And
yeah.
many times in my life, I've been stuck at the house with a raging storm outside, no electricity, no water, and what we lived on? MREs.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to imagine like something that tastes better than an MRE essentially serving the same purpose. Because MREs did not taste good. We ate them because that's kind of what we had. And there was a whole thing where you poured water into a pouch and it caused a chemical reaction that warmed it up so you could eat the food inside.
It's typically like a warm water or like maybe.
And them things was nasty.
I had to eat those, I guess the
MRE.
MRE, yeah, MREs. We got to try them when I was in Boy Scouts as a kid. I went to like this Boy Scout summer camp. We learned a lot of things, honestly. Like I know Boy Scouts gets like a bad rap or whatever, but like it actually, we learned some interesting skills. We like camped, made things, learned about nature and all that stuff. And it was cool. Well, anyways, one day we got to eat out of those MREs. And like low-key, the food wasn't the worst thing in the world.
Oh no, man. MREs.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like you'll always prefer real food. But like, if there's an emergency and it's that versus like literally grabbing some bark off a tree and a berry or something.
Yeah, if you're gonna starve, MREs are great. It's just, I remember having one thing in one type of MRE that I liked, and I didn't want anything else in my MRE.
They're always kind of like pasta-ish. Like it's like casserole-y stuff and like pasta-ish.
Well, I was so mad when I got one. I think it was supposed to be like Mexican rice or something like that. That thing was so bland. They
get you excited.
They had a small little salt packet and a small little pepper packet. Wasn't enough.
Listen, you didn't have to get that though. Be grateful you even got salt and pepper because like it could just be, it is edible, eat it, and like survive.
Hook me up with one of these apocalypse meals. That sound like that's...
Yeah, give me a Costco apocalypse meal.
So how soon before we get a YouTube video of someone like saying, I survived for like X number of days only on the apocalypse meals?
One day, maybe I'll be the YouTuber who does it. I'll just be the guy who eats Costco apocalypse meals.
Do it.
If I can get some, I actually would not be it. Like that would be kind of fun. It also makes you wonder. Like I guess I saw someone say they actually apparently started selling these last year, and they went viral this year or something. But like it makes you wonder: do they know something that we don't? Like why are they suddenly selling these?
I think they just know that people are very paranoid out here right now. And again, there always have been paranoid people, but I think people are more paranoid.
Yeah, like more of the survival kits and
I will say, food with a shelf life of 25 years is pretty good. I mean, that means if I bought one today, I wouldn't have to worry about it until I'm in my 50s. And if nothing has happened in my life to require it, that's good.
Yeah, it was a good value.
That's still a good thing. But if anything does happen, crazy storm, earthquake, whatever, Red Dawn, I'd be glad to have it.
What is Red Dawn? What is that?
That's an old movie about I think the Chinese or the Russians. Somebody invades America. I forget who exactly.
Okay. Well, interesting. Anyway, I just thought that might be cool for those of you guys who are a little paranoid. You might want to grab yourself a 25-year lasting food kit. The food sounds pretty good too.
It sounds good. It sounds better than MRE, so I'm interested. I am interested.
We've now reached the point in the podcast where we would normally reach into the pot, which is currently in a storage unit, but will be back at some point eventually.
It's not even in this state.
And it will be on the podcast soon.
Yes.
The pod will be back, but your questions are still here.
Your questions were never really inside the pod.
I mean, they were. We would put them.
Oh, we did actually physically put them in there, didn't we?
It'll be back. Don't worry. Either way, okay, so we've got some interesting questions today.
What you got?
I'll start with the kind of simple, easy ones, and then we'll end off on a couple of crazy ones.
Okay, softball first.
So here's an easy one for me, anyway. What are some TCGs that you don't play that you think you will eventually give a chance when you want to try something new? Is there a TCG that you know you probably won't ever try, even if you think it's cool? For them, it's Jasco. Anyways, love the podcast. You guys are awesome.
Appreciate you. All right, Paul, since you play the few.
Oh, wait, I think this person's name is Jasco. I thought they were talking about Jasco games were the ones they wouldn't try.
Oh, well, that's it. For me, it's Jasco.
I couldn't tell. It says like Jasco here, and the point is, let's answer the question.
Okay.
Is there a game that you like might try out when you like feel like trying something new? A game you kind of have wanted to try and maybe you will in the future?
The problem is I've tried
damn near everything.
Damn near every game that comes out. I've at least touched it once. The only games I can think of that I haven't touched that still might have a day. I don't want to say that on this pod. I don't want to say that.
No, say it.
Star Wars Unlimited.
Oh, so you are a little interested.
I mean, just because there are people who play the game. Like,
yeah. Are there? I don't know.
I've actually seen.
Oh, okay.
When we were at that sneak peek, there was a guy who had cleaned up, I guess, at the Star Wars sneak peek. I think that was last week.
Oh.
He had a huge binder of those cards.
That's funny. Every time I see the Star Wars TCG mentioned, it's always like a press release.
I saw it in real life.
It's been like paid to be put on the website.
I have seen it. It exists.
Cool. Well, so you want to try it?
It's not that I want to try it. It's just that there really are not that many like prominent games left for me to try.
My answer is boring. So I recently tried Magic the Gathering. The last few months I've actually learned how to play it. So I can't really have that be my easy answer.
We converted him.
Converted is a strong word, but I've dabbled in Pokemon in the past. I feel like one day I would like to really kind of like make a deck and like learn what the modern Pokemon TCG is played like how that goes. But if I had to pick something that's a little more like not big three, right? The game I'm most likely to try, Grand Archive's art style stuck out to me. And I thought that the whole, what was that extra deck thing it was called? The Regalia items or something.
I thought it was like the
Regalia deck or the item deck?
You had Regalia in that deck, but it was like, it's already A. I thought like Artifact or...
It was something. I don't know. We played like a couple of games of it or tried to learn it. And I was like, this is neat. And I just don't have the time at the moment to really commit to learning it, but I would like to. Maybe.
I didn't know I could pick Grand Archive because technically we've tried it.
Yeah, that's true.
I would have picked that too.
Okay. No, I mean, that's fine. Now, what about for the
game that I just know I'll never touch? Oh, that's easy for me.
Anything for me.
Anything?
I mean, I really, the hard truth is I'm just a Yu-Gi-Oh head.
He's a Yu-Gi-Oh.
And I don't really play other stuff.
In a Yu-Gi-Oh world.
And other stuff doesn't interest me. But it'd probably be those Jasco games or something. I don't know. I don't find many of them to be very. I don't like them because they don't they'll always use promotional images of the characters and the card art and stuff. It's just like a kind of Google Images card game. I've heard it called.
I did a demo of the My Hero Universes system game, and it was fine. It was a fine game.
So is there a game that you would not try?
Oh yeah.
That's a negative question, but
Bandai's newest
Union Arena.
I'll never touch that game. Not with a stick. Not with anything.
No fair.
Won't do it.
Union Arena is so cool.
Don't like it. Hate.
Yeah. I mean, what about it?
It's another Bandai game.
I mean, you typically like the Bandai games.
I have enough.
Kinda.
I think we've all had enough.
Oh, you've been gorged on them.
I'm putting a hard stop. I'm calling out all future Bandai games. You're not welcome here.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, for me, probably some of those Jasco games, they never really speak to me very much. I know there are also games that almost feel like they're just designed to be collected. Like Lorcana kind of has that vibe. You could argue Pokemon does too, but also stuff like Schwartz and like those sorts of games. They almost feel like they're just more like anime crossover. Like just collect your favorite anime waifu girl or something.
I've bumped into Western Weiss communities from time to time though. And when we were in Tokyo, they were playing Weiss at one of the card shops we were at. So I've gained some respect for Weiss as far as being its own standalone card game. It can happen. Now, like Pokemon or Arcana being collectible, I think that's more. I mean, at least at Pokemon, I think that's more incidental than on purpose. Because until like the whole Logan Paul situation, I don't know if they knew that like Pokemon collecting would be the wave.
As big, yeah. Okay, next question is, since Yu-Gi-Oh! Will likely never have MTG-style crossovers, what if they went the Pokemon route of guest artists? Yusuke Murata from One Punch Man, not One Piece. Hirohiko Araki from JJBA. What is that?
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And Junji Ito's style on a secret rare would surely be lucrative. You think that'd be cool?
So Konami, if Konami ever used like a prominent artist's work in their card game, you would never get to know about it.
Well, conversely, I think that's why it just won't happen. No, okay, to answer the question, that would be awesome. Yes, yes, yes. I think that'd be really cool to see. We've even seen kind of the inverse where like, Kazuki Takahashi has like worked with Marvel on a specific comic, right? Yeah. There was like the Iron Man, like an Iron Man, Spider-Man like issue or something.
Secret Reverse.
Secret Reverse, yeah. You have a copy of that.
I do.
You've shown me, yeah. So like, we've seen stuff like that. I think the reason Yu-Gi-Oh! Wouldn't do it is because an artist of that caliber would have to be credited. And it's like Yu-Gi-Oh!'s policy
to never,
seemingly at least, to just they don't
I'm
they
so
don't
curious
credit these artists.
Why that's the policy? Because even if you don't want to put it on the card, at least write it down somewhere.
Well, so an argument that I heard as to why Konami doesn't credit its artists is because it protects the artists from like abuse, and because like the thing is, people get this idea that like the artists who draw the cards are the people who can like design them. Even though Konami is the one who gives them the direction as to like, okay, draw this with these sort of stipulations and stuff. Mm-hmm. And the artist just kind of imagines it and draws it. But if people like find out who's drawing all the cards, they'll blast their emails like they did about the Banlist thing earlier and be like, ooh, design a card that does this. Ooh, make a new Trap Tricks card, so and so, like,
I still think artists would rather be credited.
I think they would too. My guess is that Konami must pay some pretty decent money for it to be like hushed up as much as it is. Like for you to get no credit and just hand over all the rights to Konami, maybe they're paying more for that.
And then virtually never spoken about it again.
But if they did do crossover, art from like famous sort of styles, mangaka styles.
That would be cool.
That'd be cool. It'd be worth loads, I think. Especially if it's like 1 or 2 cards only.
Only commons.
They should make them commons. That'd be fun. More people can have it. All right, so here's some more involved questions. You ready?
It's about to get deep, y'all.
So, I'm curious about the logistics of your card organization and storage. It's got a couple questions. So, before I even answer these, I should say, we have so many cards that we've had to store in the past. I recently finally offloaded a lot of them. But I will still answer these questions as though I still had them. So, I'm curious about the logistics of your card organization and storage. 1, do you keep all cards you've ever opened, excluding trades? What do you do with bulk extras or even old meta decks that are no longer viable? So, to answer that part first, I'm going to share it. Okay. Yeah, we pretty much kept everything that we opened.
Yeah, at one point, like we just had every single card we opened just all boxed and categorized.
Yeah, we had just a bunch of those big BCW, like 5,000, 6,000 card boxes.
Now, to be clear, we didn't do the organizing.
Yeah, for a long time, the cards were unorganized.
And that was a nightmare.
And then finally, our friend Victor, who he obsessively loves organizing and labeling things, volunteered himself to organize for us.
And that was the
he gets
best
joy from
time
it.
Deck building and card gathering we've ever had.
Yeah, it makes it so much better. But yeah, we kept everything that we opened for videos and stuff like that. It probably wasn't well advised. I think you just end up...
Because we ended up with a lot.
You build up your bulk fast and like it becomes more apparent. Much. Yeah, we really did. I mean, sometimes with sets, we'd open like 6 boxes or a case or something.
And we would go out, since we would do a lot of retro games and those random games and those Walmart games, we would open up product that does not need to be opened anymore.
And it makes it abundantly clear that Yu-Gi-Oh packs are full of filler.
Bloat.
Bloat, filler, just drink coasters. The second question is, do you keep separate stores of cards for your personal use and the channel's use?
Yes.
Mostly. Like,
I got a box on the floor over there with all my decks.
Yeah, like I keep all my decks like separate and for personal use, and I have like a personal kind of old school collection and stuff. Mm-hmm. Over time, for better or worse, a lot of that stuff did get mixed into channel stuff. So,
like, because some cards are so rare, we have just so few of them. We have to have them in our decks, but then they're also useful in video. And at times, cards have been accidentally sorted into the bulk because Victor didn't always know like what's an important card to us and what's not.
He didn't have a Yu-Gi-Oh background.
If we accidentally put a card in like the sorting box, it got sorted.
Yeah. So, next question is: Do you have separate card piles for rare hunters or for slackers, for example? Yes, we did.
We did.
Yeah,
we had to
kept
keep
them
those cards separate
because that would have been a mess trying to.
Especially with rare hunters, it was important to keep the integrity of the game and be able to very quickly get all of our cards together because we were deck building every single episode.
Yeah, and sometimes an old card would actually become relevant when a new card came out. It's like, okay, now I have good enough targets to want to run Giant Rat or something. So yeah, that was definitely a thing. Do you have any sort of inventory system or a list of every card you own? Victor made that.
He made a database.
He made a spreadsheet. Man is a mad lad, honestly.
We couldn't have done it. We're too lazy.
We are way too lazy. He used sorting dividers and he had a whole system.
Cards were alphabetized, organized by attribute,
type, foil, non-foil.
It was a whole thing.
Are your cards listed under any insurance? Nope. We really should have probably done that because we had so many that it was literally just taking them from one location to the next would be that was its own hassle.
A huge hassle. And then if there were ever a natural disaster or a fire or something, we're out of luck.
Yeah, we just kind of would be screwed.
But I do think if you are a person with an extremely large Yu-Gi-Oh collection, and we don't have to define what a large Yu-Gi-Oh collection is. You know who you are.
Yeah.
Go ahead and get it insured.
Don't be like us.
It will tear you up on the inside.
Yeah. It's better to get that stuff insured if you can. Thanks in advance, he says, and P.S. Love your theme duels and progression series.
Appreciate it.
All right, and now the final question comes to us from Basic Nerd. Always Basic Nerd.
Didn't have to look. He's always there.
I've played a few random events in Master Duel before, but recently I started playing the game regularly. As a returning boomer, I have some thoughts on the overall experience. Number one, and I guess we'll go through each of these thoughts and kind of share our brief thoughts on it as well.
Cool.
The ranked ladder can be a little brutal. If you're playing a lower tier deck, it doesn't feel great to have to choose between playing ranked and getting beat up on just to get CP, or playing casual but getting no rewards. Agreed.
Yeah.
Yes. I think it sucks that there's not really a way to kind of divvy things up into tiers, and the fact that ranked is kind of your only real option for getting rewards sucks.
So my strategy is this. I just stay in gold. If I start getting a win streak, I will tank a game. I will tank it immediately just to stay in gold. Because at gold, the power level is so mixed. Yeah, you might run into something that's meta, but you're actually much more likely to run into some blue eyes BS.
Yeah, some kind of garbage, and you can have more fun that way. I do wish I wish there was almost a setting to lock yourself into platinum or gold or something.
Never leave.
Because it gets pretty nasty in diamond, master rank, all that
but
stuff.
Then they might say you're smurfing.
I guess you could argue that would, yeah. But the point is right. I think that casual mode should at least let you get your rewards. Even if you don't get a ranking or whatever, just be able to get your daily gems and stuff would be nice.
Casual mode, to me, just has no purpose.
Number two, as much as I would love an Edison or GOAT mode, I don't think that we're getting it. But I feel like duel rooms could be a place to better explore this. Let people custom title their duel rooms instead of the generic comments they use now. Maybe even add the ability to make a custom Banlist and have people build decks inside the duel rooms. Yes. Right now, duel rooms to me are bare minimum functionality.
Incredibly limited.
It's they're just doing the bare minimum. It's crazy to me, and I've said this a billion times, that Duel Links, the game that came out in 2016, and they had a clear blueprint to learn from.
A much better duel
handled duel rooms way better. They actually automate the matchmaking and tournament process and all that stuff.
You can fit an incredible amount of people into those rooms.
Yeah, it supports more people. Yes, I mean, I think like that'd be cool and let you like title your duel room and like let people come in and
The
invite.
YGO Pro experience.
No pendulum, no synchro, no Xyz, no link. Yeah.
But it did help when those rooms worked as intended. I think everyone appreciated the fact that you could title rooms individually.
Yeah, I think that would be good. And then number 3, when there isn't an event, the game can feel stale. I like having a weird alternate way to play when I get bored. It'd be nice if the rewards went further than win 3 games, though. So like they're talking about, when they do those dual trials, it's only 3 games, and once you're done with that, you get like 1 pack, and then there's not really much point in playing it past that unless you're just having fun.
I think, because now, I'm not trying to be rude, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Players by nature are complainers.
Yes.
And
Me.
so Yu-Gi-Oh! Players will complain no matter what happens here. They'll complain if there were more like rewards for playing those alternate modes. They complain about having to play them.
So that's actually a good point that you just made. There's this weird, there's something kind of funny that happens a lot on our Master Duel and some of the other kind of Master Duel online discussion spaces, where people get angry at new events because there's a meta game to the events. It's like weird. Okay, so it's like they'll be doing the insect, they did like the insect, dino, reptile, like winged beast.
The Ragnarika
festival
deck or something.
Yeah, it was like one of those. And people were mad because like, well, so-and-so is the best deck in this and it's pissing me off. And it's like, well, I don't really know what to fucking tell you.
There's
no matter
always
what, no matter what format you do and no matter what like rule set, there's going to be something that's kind of floats to the top. I know it'd be perfect if like we could have this ideal balanced world where every deck is completely even, but that'd probably be more boring than you think. We'd still start complaining. Why does everything feel the same?
Just be happy that when they can't play stun. Just be happy when they can't play stun.
So I guess what I'm saying here is just that like I find it odd when people are like, I want alternate formats, but then when the alternate formats come, if it's a format that I don't like, then why are they making me play this just to get gems? Like,
I don't wanna.
Well, then don't. Like, shit. Sorry, that got.
I mean, it just goes so. Some people really don't like playing Yu-Gi-Oh. Not really.
You start to. It's controversial to say this, but you start to inch into that territory where you kind of realize a lot of us, like a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players collectively, are almost grudgingly playing their favorite game. Like, there's just this expectation that like everything's kind of annoying, everything kind of sucks. Like even when there's an alternate format, we're still mad that a certain deck can do a little more than anything else can, and
we just don't like to lose. So back to basic.
Back to the point,
Point. I do think we should get more rewards to incentivize playing in those alternate forms more, and I think we should have more alternate game modes than we do.
Draft mode, Master Duel, please, come on.
Make it happen. Look, like CMO already did have to work.
Number 4, I'm surprised you can't straight up buy CP in the shop. Not that I want that, I'm just surprised that you can't.
Give it time.
I mean, I'm also very shocked they don't just like, hey, just buy these gems for this price.
Look, that was my hard call.
Or no, you buy gems, but you don't get to buy like material, crafting points. I'm surprised they don't have that.
I think when we had the question about Master Duel 2.0, I said, I think when they announce 2.0, we will be able to directly buy.
Oh, you think that'll happen? That's supposed to be pretty soon.
I think it'll happen, man. That's just the type of microtransaction that's scummy, but players will abuse it and use it.
If I had to like make a guess as to why they don't, is maybe it's like a plausible deniability thing, where it's like, okay, if you could straight up buy crafting points, and that actually puts a direct price value on cards. Because a UR is 30 UR points to craft.
Right.
And so if like I could buy UR dust, like 10 UR dust costs me $3 or something, then that means like a UR is like $9 or something. And so now it's like, well, this deck now has a price on it.
But Konami can always say, well, they don't have to pay. They can earn the dust. Like,
yes, but I think they prefer it if like literally you can't pay. So no one can claim that they're like directly selling you the cards. They will sell you the gems, which you can then use to like get random chances at stuff through packs, but they don't want to like sell you the card outright.
But what about when it comes time to increase the revenue though?
Then they'll just increase the packs of gems.
I mean,
the price of gem packs.
They can do that.
You think that they really will just let you just buy the crafting material?
I think they will. In the world of mobile gaming, where microtransactions are king, that is exactly the type of move companies make. I'm glad they didn't start off with it, but I think they'll feel a good week. I think they'll do it eventually.
If you actually read this one, you guys are the best. Thanks for being the best Yu-Gi pod around, Basic Nerd. Well, we did read this one.
We did read it. We saw.
I think every thought that you have on Master Duel pretty much lines up. I've made kind of a whole video about where I just feel like Master Duel is this amazing game that just plays it a little too safe at times. Like it's very just doing kind of the bare minimum of play modes, and I think that it could be doing more.
No, I agree, but for a lot of people, it is still the best way to enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, it's an easy middle ground of like, you don't have a locals, you can play Master Duel.
And if you do have a locals, and that's why you play Master Duel.
Yeah, you might not want to deal with the slow play and end up getting arrested or something, or having 911 called.
So guys, if you take nothing from this pod, nothing at all, don't slow play.
Yeah, definitely don't do that. Cool, well hopefully you guys enjoyed. That's pretty much it for the podcast.
That's a wrap.
Who knows how it will be presented next week, but it will be there next week as well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure that you drop a like on the YouTube video if you haven't already. Certainly leave a comment when the premiere ends, lets the video go live.
And don't forget to participate in the Pot of Greed by submitting your own questions.
Yeah, links in the description. Without further ado.
We'll see you guys in the next one. Pass turn.
Nice. Woo!